Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another character tutorial for Pokemon Unite. This game recently came out on mobile, but we're still going to be doing our breakdown series on the Nintendo Switch version. And if the audio is sounding a little bit more regular at this point, that's because I've officially moved into my new recording studio. So because of that, I was unable to do the Smash Ultimate video that I was expecting to be able to do today, but hopefully we should be back into that starting next week. But we've got a roster that we need to continue to make our way down, and the next character on our list is one that I've been having a lot of fun with, and personally I think that this character is a little bit underrated. You see him right here on your screen. We're going to be talking about Mr. Mime today. And Mr. Mime isn't one of those characters that people initially look at as being super beneficial, mainly due to the fact that he doesn't have two attacking abilities. But don't let that fool you, because there's a lot that this character can pull off, despite the fact that he's not as strong as some of the other characters may be. So let's go ahead and look at the move list. Okay, so they've redone the user interface and everything's just kind of weird in terms of where it is, but all the same information is here. So I guess we'll start off at the very start, as we typically leave this to the end, but the standard attack sequence of these characters, they're all 3 hits, and Mr. Mime is a melee-based attacker, so it's very right up close to where he is. But that third strike does knock the opponents up into the air and stun them, prevent them from retaliating for a very brief second. So there's actually a lot of power built within that particular attribute of Mr. Mime's kit. The second ability here is Filter, which means that Mr. Mime will receive reduced damage after using a move. So there's a lot of benefits to that, especially because Mr. Mime's moves are pretty quick in terms of the turnaround that you can use on them. And we'll talk about those right now. So Mr. Mime starts out with Fake Out, which is a hand slap that shoves the opposing Pokemon out in front and will prevent them from using abilities, or at least it tends to work against characters such as Ludicolo and Bouffalant and those other smaller boss type characters. It will prevent them from retaliating directly with their charge attacks. So that's actually a little bit beneficial, but once you get up to level 4, you can select one of the 2 options. You can select Confusion, which attacks straight in front of the user, deals damage to the opposing Pokemon, and shoves it out of the way. If all the opposing Pokemon, or any opposing Pokemon that's struck by this move, is sent into an obstacle, it receives increased damage and is stunned for a short period of time. And the real benefit about this is it does count when you're using moves such as Light Screen and Barrier. So if you set up a barrier behind your opponent and then push the opponent into that wall or temporary space, or just a wall of the battle arena with Confusion, you will deal increased amount of damage to that opponent, as well as leave them vulnerable for a period of time, which is really nice to see, especially if you have other teammates helping you out in the confrontation. If the opposing Pokemon is guard swapped, it is not shoved but receives increased damage from the move and is unable to react from a short amount of time. And I believe that that has to do with Mr. Mime's Unite move, which we'll look at in just a brief second. And upon being upgraded, this move has its damage increased. And I actually think that this Confusion is better than the secondary ability being Psychic. And the reason why is because Psychic is a little bit more temperamental, because it centers one telekinetic blast on each of the user, as well as the guard swapped Pokemon and any Light Screen or Barrier walls. So it's interesting and can lower the special defense, but again, it's pretty temperamental with how it blasts or how it attacks, and it's in a little bit of an extended radius of what you could do with your physical or standard attacks. But all things considered, I really think that Confusion is the better way to go, because you can hit multiple opponents in a straight line, as opposed to opponents that are just within an immediate vicinity of where you are. There's certainly going to be instances where this move works better than Confusion, but I tend to perhaps have the Confusion ability picked because of the ranged capability it possesses. The second ability is the Light Screen, and this creates a screen that will prevent opposing Pokemon from passing through, as well as helping to mitigate some of their moves. But upon reaching level 6, you can choose one of the two following moves, and I am seeing that Guard Swap is one of the one of the abilities that you can use at level 6 as opposed to Light Screen. I tend to use Barrier because it can really mess up your opponents, and it has a 2-second cooldown, so you can have up to 2 barriers up at any given time, and you can place them in a variety of different positions that, if you are proper about it, you can either prevent your opponents from retreating and thus force them into a confrontation that they're likely to lose, especially if you're pushing with multiple teammates, or it can prevent them from getting in and scoring on your particular area, which is really nice to see as well, or your goal zones. And upon being upgraded, this increases the maximum uses that can be kept in reserve for this move. I believe it increases it from 2 to 3 is all. So nothing super crazy, but something that definitely helps in terms of area management. Now, Guard Swap is going to cause the defender's defense and special defense to swap with another Pokemon for a short time, so you will take on the attribute of your opponent and they will receive yours. And this deals damage over time and decreases movement speed while increasing the movement speed of yourself for a short period of time. And I mean, it's okay, but if you get this upgraded to the higher level, it also restores the HP of the user and the ally Pokemon while this move is being used. But again, I don't think that it's the most effective option, because Barrier just tends to be a little bit more useful because you can actively hinder and block off your opponent's options. And then finally we have the Unite move, which is Showtime, not Guard Swap. Again, want to correct that from my statement a little bit earlier. This has the user jump into a designated area and pantomime a performance, which deals damage over time to Pokemon in the area of effect and leaves them unable to act for a short period of time. So a nice little area of effect control, crowd control type ability that can be used by Mr. Mime. So pretty nice. There are other more powerful Unite moves out there, but being able to prevent your opponents from retaliating against you while using Showtime is certainly beneficial, especially for members of your team. But we've talked a lot about Mr. Mime. You see the held item loadout that I tend to run with him here. We've got leftovers because it's really nice to be able to passively recuperate some of that health over the course of a fight. I really love the Aeos cookie. You can see that I almost have it maxed out, because if you are playing more aggressive and you're scoring a lot more frequently, it increases the maximum health of your Pokemon. And then the Rocky Helmet is a decent thing to have around because it deals chip damage back to your opponent when they make physical contact with you. So let's go ahead and do what we always do. We're going to jump into a ranked match with Mr. Mime and see how well we're able to perform there. Okay, here we are in our ranked match here. And we're going to take Mr. Mime into the center again. That might make the little Zeraora that we're working with a little upset. But I think if we are able to hang out kind of right here close, we should be okay. So you'll see this Ludicolo here, and that fake out move that we used against him prevented him from retaliating against us with that move that he tends to use there. We can now transition down to the Bouffalant. And just like that, we've got the Bouffalant down as well with the help of our teammate Zeraora here. Now, he has already taken out all of these Corphish that are hanging around, so we're just going to see if we can make our way down towards the end. Looks like there's an opposing Ralts that may be closing in on our position here. But if we can get up to this 4th level, I'm hoping that we'll be able to start picking some better moves. There we are. Confusion works really well for us. And just like that, the Ralts is down, and he went down pretty fast too. So we'll go ahead and get a couple of these opponents down, and you just see how powerful it is with Confusion, even throwing it into your own light screen before you have the barriers active. There's just a lot of power that you can put behind that type of a move. And we can prevent this Lucario from getting back into their little safe space, which is really nice as well. We'll go ahead and heal up a little bit with our potion, and then we'll just continue attacking into the Audino here with our Lucario friend. So really a lot of nice power that you can get out of these types of abilities. And just like that, you saw just how fast we were able to kind of melt through Lucario that way. And let's see if we can... We were able to provide a little bit of some help to our Lucario here to allow him to get in and score a little easier. And we didn't quite get away from our opponents there, but that's okay because we've really put a pretty significant hurt down on these opponents. So let's run down to the bottom. We're not going to be able to stop them from scoring, unfortunately. But we can jump in and surprise them here, perhaps. Ooh, just like that, we've got the Kirlia that's taken a lot of significant damage there. And now this Lucario has nowhere to go. Admittedly, we're fighting him in a space that isn't really great. Ooh, but the Charmeleon is really having a hard time right now. We'll get a score in there. And we got close combated by the Lucario from the opposing team there. But I think it's fine, all things considered. We'll make our way back down towards the bottom again. And we've got a teammate that's struggling a little bit up top, so we might want to drop down and lend them a hand as well. But get him, just hit him. Oh, that was unfortunate. But we're going to be able to overwhelm this guy really well, take him out, and so we'll just allow our team members to hit into him, and now come down and attack the Dreadnought as well. Look at that, tons of really great damage going into that Dreadnought there from the three of us, and now we've got these guys on the run. They're going to go back and retreat. Ooh, lots of really good damage coming in from these guys. And just like that, we were able to close off the opponent's access to us and really give us a good buffer zone to get that score in. Fortunately, we were at a point where we were going to be able to score pretty efficiently, but there's just a lot of benefit that you can get out of these type of setups. Level 10 should be coming up pretty close here. And the Vespiquen's about to go down here. There we go. Now we can make our way up towards this goalpost again. We'll probably stop off and grab a couple of these opponents as we do. And look at that. That Corphish went down to a single use of Confusion. And now that Charizard's having a hard time closing in. We got close combated again there. And just being able to close off that Charizard really makes a big difference. And now we've got our team members that are going to be able to help us out a little bit. And unfortunately couldn't get completely away from that Charizard, but we've put a pretty good push of pressure on them. They haven't taken down a single one of our goalposts yet, though a couple of them are fairly close. Let's jump back down to the bottom here before this Charizard realizes that he could get a score in. Oh, we barely stopped him from getting us. Ooh, we're causing him to retreat there. Kind of regret some of his decisions, if you will. And that Ralts, or I guess it's a Gardevoir now. Ooh, that was really good, except for the part where the Lucario took us out. But the Blastoise came down and is really cleaning up shop around there. So a lot of really good things happening here. We'll go down and offer some extra support, especially because that Lucario is going to be closing in on this goal zone.
You're on fire!
Ooh, let's get him. Ooh, we are in a bit of a rough spot, but it's okay, because we can just continue to attack into these guys and prevent them from... Oh, he barely got away from my barrier there, which isn't ideal, but we ended up being okay. We'll heal up with the Lucario. I think if we lay in wait here for an ambush... Ooh, look at that! Nice little sneak attack there. The Charizard didn't have anywhere that he could realistically get back away to. And the Lucario took significant increased damage there from our little barrier confusion attack. So a lot of things to be happy about there as well. We're going to hold out here against the Zapdos and see if we can get a surprise ambush in on some of our opponents. Oh, that was really good against the Lucario there. And we might get out of this. Unfortunately, we didn't get the killing blow on the Zapdos, but the entire opposing team has basically been wiped. So, despite the fact that they got the takedown, they don't really have the manpower to get back, rally, and score, which is not good for them. Ooh, that was unfortunate that we didn't quite get that Talonflame down, but our teammates have done enough scoring to the point where we're going to be just fine. Because their score bonuses dried off now, so we've got our barrier up, which does get us up to the 3 barriers there towards the very end. It's not going to make a huge difference for us, but let's run down and get these 31 points scored against... Actually, if we... No, we should probably just look to score. And that Talonflame did go ahead and get dropped down. So, we should have this win pretty cut and dry, which is okay. And you saw there that third little attack, it even knocked Bouffalant out of his attack, which is not something that you typically see. But yeah, we ended up outscoring our opponents and taking the win here. So Mr. Mime is not a character that you really want to sleep on, and I hope that you were able to see a couple of the really good instances where using the barrier to either prevent retreats or magnify damage with the Confusion Blast really helped out. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure that you leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe for that daily variety content, and I will be sure to see you in the next video. Take care, and have a fantastic rest of your day.